Hey everyone! Before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join my channel and stay updated with more content like this. I'm Bethany Clark, 30 years old. A decade ago, I stood shaking on my family's porch, pleading for $70 to get by. Jobless and starving, I was at my lowest. My sister smirked, "Bethany, you're a mess," scraping by in secondhand rags. My father's voice boomed, "Don't show your face here until you're worth something." My mother? She just turned her back, silent. That moment burned into me, a wound I carried for years. Last week, I sat at their gleaming dining table, watching them fawn over my sister's latest venture, a sketchy real estate deal. When I pointed out the holes in her partner's pitch, my sister laughed, "Still jealous, Bethany? You'll never match me." My father pounded the table, demanding I kneel and apologize for spoiling their night, threatening to kick me out again. My mother whispered, "You're always a disgrace." Right then, I vowed to uncover the truth they couldn't fathom. With the money I'd earned in just 70 hours, I'd show them who I really am and prove they'd been wrong all along. This is my journey, and I know many of you have felt this kind of pain. Drop a comment if this resonates, and don't hold back on sharing your emotions. On a quiet morning, a blunt text dragged me back to Springfield. My sister's message, as curt as ever. Friday, 7 p.m. We need to discuss Monica's project. Show up. At my desk, surrounded by papers from property deals I'd sealed as a real estate pro, I felt uneasy. Springfield, Missouri, wasn't a place I wanted to revisit after last week's drama, but this wasn't about family ties. Monica's latest scheme, a land development deal hyped with big promises, set my instincts on high alert. I'd seen too many deals in my career to trust flashy pitches. I opened my laptop, checking Springfield's property records. Nothing. No permits, no deeds, no filings for the land she was touting. My gut tightened. This wasn't just a family spat, it was a potential scam that could wipe out the savings of people I'd known my whole life. I couldn't let that happen. A year ago, my parents had called me in a frenzy, their home teetering on foreclosure, drowning in $50,000 of debt. I'd pulled strings, worked my network, and kept the bank at bay. They never asked how, never thanked me. I stayed quiet then, and I would now. This wasn't about them. It was about stopping a fraud before it hurt others. I needed to know who Monica's partner really was. I messaged an old friend at the county clerk's office, someone who'd seen shady deals collapse. She could unearth records faster than anyone. If there was dirt on this project, she'd find it. I packed a light bag, just enough for a short stay in Springfield. Monica's smug tone echoed in my mind, always dripping with superiority. I wasn't here to one-up her for my own sake. I was here to shield the people she might ruin. At my hotel, I spread out my notes, cross-checking cases I'd handled, developers who'd vanished with investors' money, leaving broken dreams. Monica's project screamed the same warning signs, big promises, no substance, a partner too slick to trust. I scribbled questions for Friday's dinner, ready to watch her partner's every move, catch any crack in his pitch. This wasn't a family reunion, it was a mission for truth, and I was prepared to act. The dinner felt like a typical family gathering at first, but Monica's boasts about her project soon filled the room, her voice overpowering the clatter of dishes. She waved her fork, tossing out visions of luxury condos and fast profits. Her partner, Eric, sat beside her, flashing a salesman's smile, his tie too crisp for a small-town meal. I sat across, my plate untouched, keeping my expression steady. The setup reeked of trouble. I'd seen enough scams in my real estate work to recognize one. "So, Monica," I said calmly, "where's the paperwork for this project?" "County records show no permits." Her smile faltered for a split second before she laughed, sharp and biting. "Jealous as ever. Bethany, stuck in your bargain bin clothes, trying to tear me down." Her words stung, but I held firm. I'd heard worse. I pressed on. "I'm asking about clarity. Your contracts are vague, and 10% returns in 6 months? That's not how this works." Eric shifted, his smile slipping. Monica's eyes narrowed. "You're just bitter because you'll never be me," she snapped. My father slammed his glass down, the sound ringing out. "You've never measured up to Monica." Always a letdown, he growled. My mother added, her voice thick with disdain, stop spoiling her moment, Bethany. You're causing a scene. Their words cut deep, reopening old scars. But I gripped my napkin, refusing to let them see me crack. I turned to Eric. Your numbers don't add up. I've seen projects like this collapse. Where's the zoning approval? His jaw twitched, but he flashed a quick smile. It's all in progress. You're overthinking it. Monica smirked, leaning back. See, even Eric knows you're out of your league. The room felt tighter, their voices closing in. But I wasn't here for their praise. I was here for the truth, for the people who could lose everything. My father stood, his chair scraping loudly. Kneel and apologize for ruining this family, or leave, he barked. My mother nodded, her eyes cold. You've always been trouble, Bethany. Go if you can't behave. Their demand hit hard, their faces rigid with expectation. Monica folded her arms, sneering. Do it, Bethany. My heart raced, but I stayed seated. Years ago, I'd begged for their help and got only mockery. I wasn't kneeling now, not for them, not ever. I'm asking what any investor would, I said, my voice firm despite the fire in my chest. If this is legit, show the proof. Monica scoffed. You're no investor. You're nothing. My father pointed to the door. Out, before you make this worse. My mother added, you're shaming us in front of Eric. I glanced at Eric, catching a flicker of nerves in his eyes. He was hiding something, and I'd uncover it. Their taunts and threats hurt, but they were my battle. My fight was for Springfield's families, the ones who didn't deserve to be swindled. Monica kept boasting, her voice thick with buzzwords, prime locations, investor excitement. I tuned her out, my mind racing. No permits, a slick pitch, Eric's quick dodges, it all pointed to a scam. I'd seen deals like this unravel, leaving people empty-handed. My father's glare burned, but I met it unflinching. I'm not here to ruin your night, I said, standing, my chair steady. I'm here to protect others from getting hurt. Monica's laugh was harsh. Good luck, loser. My father's hand twitched, pointing again. Out now. I walked to the door, my steps deliberate, their voices fading. The cold night air hit me, but my resolve was steel. This wasn't about proving them wrong anymore. It was about unearthing the truth, piece by piece, before Monica and Eric could drag anyone else down. I had work to do. That night, in my small hotel room, I opened my laptop, determined to follow every lead Monica had left. An email from her, sent by mistake, held a forwarded chain about her land deal, likely meant for an investor. Attached were contracts and wire transfer receipts. I leaned closer to the screen in the dim light. After that disastrous dinner, I checked into a hotel far from my family's reach. Monica's slip-up was my opening, and I wasn't letting it go. The documents showed my family had sunk $300,000 into her partner's project, a company called Horizon Ventures. Pages listed bank transfers, Monica's bold, messy signature, but no land titles or permits, just glossy promises of condos on empty lots. My pulse raced. I'd closed enough deals to know this was a house of cards. And it wasn't just my parents' savings at risk. Springfield families who trusted Monica's pitch could lose everything. I needed more than a careless email. I texted Renee, a high school friend who worked at a local bank. She'd been burned by a con artist years ago, a developer who vanished with her savings. If anyone could spot a scam, it was her. Can you check Horizon Ventures? I wrote, attaching a screenshot of the company name. Her reply was instant on it. I've seen that name in bad deals before. I paced the hotel room, the carpet softening my steps, my mind racing. By noon, Renee called, her voice tense. Horizon's a shell company, Bethany. I found records tying it to Mark Thompson and Jason Reed, both linked to failed land deals in Missouri. Investors got nothing. She sent files, forged bank statements, complaints buried with the state. Eric's name wasn't on them, but the pattern screamed fraud. Same empty promises, same vanishing act. I checked the lot numbers from Monica's email in my real estate database. They were vacant, no zoning changes, no construction plans. A total sham. I sank onto the bed, staring at the files. Monica's smug face at dinner flashed in my mind. her voice dripping with superiority. She wasn't the mastermind, Eric was, but her blind trust had pulled our parents into a mess. I thought of Springfield's families, neighbors who might have heard her pitch at community meetings, maybe bet their retirement funds. I'd seen clients lose homes to scams like this, their lives shattered. Not here. Not if I could stop it. Renee sent another email, this one with a photo from a 2019 fraud case in Kansas City. Same sharp jaw, same polished smile. Eric, hiding under another name. He's done this before, Renee said when I called back. New name, new town, same wreckage. I thanked her, my resolve solidifying. I contacted a county assessor I'd worked with, reading off the parcel numbers from the contracts. No activity, he confirmed. Those lots haven't been touched in years. I leaned back, connecting the dots. Eric had woven a web of lies, fake company, fake deals, fake future. My family's money was likely gone, funneled to accounts I couldn't trace. But this wasn't about them anymore. It was about the people in this town who didn't deserve to be conned. I started planning to confront Eric, not privately, but at his next investor meeting in Monica's office, set for 2 days from now. I'd walk in with proof, expose his lies where he couldn't escape. The hotel room felt small, the weight of those documents heavy on my screen. This wasn't about settling scores with Monica or my parents. It was about justice for Springfield, for the families Eric would target next. I'd make sure his scam stopped here. 2 days flew by, and the moment arrived. Eric pitched his deal in Monica's sleek office, unaware of my plan. The room hummed with a dozen investors, their faces eager as he flashed slides of gleaming condos that didn't exist. I stood at the back, my bag heavy with printed emails, bank records, and Renee's files on his fake identities. Monica sat up front, beaming with pride, while my parents flanked her, nodding like this was their golden ticket. I'd spent days building this case, and I wasn't here to watch Eric deceive these people. He clicked to a slide promising 20% returns, his voice as smooth as ever. I stepped forward, my heart steady. "Excuse me," I said, loud enough to cut through his pitch. Heads turned, Monica's eyes narrowing. "Those lots you're selling? They're empty. No permits filed." I checked the county records. Murmurs spread through the room. Eric's smile twitched, but he recovered quickly. "We're in early stages," he said, glancing at Monica. "All standard procedure." I held up the emails Monica had sent by mistake, showing $300,000 funneled to Horizon Ventures. "This company's a shell," I said, passing copies to the investors. "No deeds, no zoning changes, just promises." I laid out Renee's files, pointing to names, Mark Thompson, Jason Reed, tied to Eric. He's used these aliases in Missouri before, leaving investors with nothing. A woman in the front row gasped, clutching her purse. Another man flipped through the papers, his face hardening. Monica shot to her feet, her voice cutting. "You're just bitter, Bethany. A failure trying to ruin me." Her words stung, but I kept my focus on the investors. My father leaned over, whispering loudly, "She's always been trouble." My mother nodded, her lips tight. "She's embarrassing us as usual." Their words were sharp, but I'd faced worse. This wasn't about them, it was about the truth, about protecting these people. "Check the records yourself," I told the investors, holding up a photo from Renee's files, Eric's face under a different name. Kansas City, 2019. Same pitch, same scam. Eric's jaw clenched, his hands gripping the podium. "This is slander," he said, his voice wavering. An older man in a suit stood, demanding, "Where's my deposit?" Others nodded, their trust crumbling. I felt a spark of hope. These people were listening. Monica stormed toward me, her heels clicking. "You're pathetic, Bethany. Digging up lies to feel important." I didn't flinch. "I'm saving these people from you and him," I said, pointing at Eric. The investors' eyes darted between us, the tension thick. I handed out the last of my evidence, pages fluttering to the floor. Eric tried to regain control, his voice rising. "Let's stay focused, folks. This is just a misunderstanding." But the room was shifting, whispers growing louder. A woman gathered her things, shaking her head. "I'd done what I came for," planted doubt, giving them the tools to see the truth. My family's glares burned, but I held my secret close. The house they thought was theirs, the one I'd saved from foreclosure, was mine. I hadn't played that card yet, and I wouldn't until the time was right. Check the county records, I said one last time, meeting the investor's eyes. Protect your money. I walked out, my steps firm, their words echoing behind me. The truth was out, and it would unravel Eric's lies. Whether my family liked it or not, I was ready for what came next. Days after the confrontation, things moved fast. Eric skipped town, leaving the Clarks reeling from their losses. My phone buzzed with a call from Monica, her voice shrill. "You're a wrecking ball, Bethany," she spat, blaming me for everything. "You scared him off, and now our money's gone." I sat on the edge of my hotel bed, gripping the phone, letting her words wash over me. She said they'd checked their accounts, $300,000, their life savings gone. I felt no satisfaction, only a hollow ache for the mess they'd fallen into. Monica kept ranting, her voice breaking. "You couldn't just stay out of it, could you?" I didn't respond. There was no point. She'd never see the truth. My parents had trusted her partner, handed their future to a con man, and now they were paying the price. I hung up, my mind already on the next step. Eric was gone, but his scam needed to be stopped for good. I needed someone with legal firepower. I called Susan, my lawyer friend who specialized in real estate fraud. We met at her downtown Springfield office, a small space cluttered with case files. Susan's sharp eyes scanned my evidence, Monica's emails, Renee's records on Eric's fake identities, the empty lot reports. "This is airtight," she said, flipping through the pages. Horizon Ventures never owned a single parcel. It was all a mirage. She confirmed my fears. The project was a complete fabrication, built on lies and forged documents. Susan leaned back, her voice steady. "We'll report him to the state attorney general and the FBI's fraud division. He's done this before, Mark Thompson, Jason Reed, same pattern." I nodded, picturing Eric's smug face at Monica's office, now just a ghost in Springfield. Susan drafted a report detailing the bank transfers and complaints from other investors. I added my notes, every detail I'd uncovered, ensuring no one else would fall for his tricks. Back at the hotel, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was my mother, her tone frantic. "The bank sent a foreclosure notice," she said, her voice trembling. "We missed mortgage payments, thinking Eric's deal would cover it." My father's voice cut in, gruff and accusing. "This is your fault, Bethany. You pushed him away." I clenched my jaw, staying silent. They didn't know I'd saved their house from foreclosure years ago, that the deed was in my name. I wasn't ready to tell them, not yet. Monica called again later, her anger replaced by desperation. "We're ruined," she whispered. "What do we do?" I wanted to feel pity, but her words from the office, bitter failure, still stung. "You trusted the wrong person," I said, keeping my voice even. "Check the county records next time." She hung up, leaving me staring at the hotel's peeling wallpaper. Their panic was real, but so was my resolve. I wasn't here to save them. They'd made their choices. Susan called the next day with an update. "The authorities are tracking Eric," she said. "His aliases popped up in other states. They'll catch him." I thanked her, feeling a weight lift. This wasn't just about my family's loss. It was about every investor who'd been fooled, every family in Springfield who'd nearly lost their savings. I pictured the faces at Monica's investor meeting, the doubt I'd planted. I'd given them a chance to walk away, and that was enough for now. The foreclosure notice loomed over my parents' heads, their future unraveling. I sat with my secret, the house deed locked in my safe deposit box. They'd find out soon enough, but I wasn't done yet. One more step, one final moment, and the truth would hit them harder than Eric's betrayal ever could. Not long after the chaos, a knock at my door brought familiar faces. Monica's eyes were red, her voice unsteady. "The bank's taking the house," she said. "You have to help us, Bethany." My mother stepped forward, clutching her purse. "We're family," she said, her tone softer than ever. My father stood behind, shoulders slumped, muttering, "We can't lose everything." I let them stand there, their desperation thick in the air. Leaning against the doorframe, I kept my face calm. The bank sent a foreclosure notice, didn't they? I asked. Monica nodded, her hands twisting. We missed payments for months, she admitted. Eric's deal was supposed to save us. My father's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. I'd waited years for this moment, for the truth to strike where it hurt most. Their words, failure, wrecking ball, echoed, but I felt no pity, only clarity. You don't know the half of it, I said, stepping back. I pulled a folder from my bag, the deed to their house, my name in bold. A year ago, you faced foreclosure. I worked 70 hours straight, scraped together $8,400 for the down payment, and bought the house through a third-party company. My mother gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Monica's face froze, eyes wide. I've paid the mortgage every month since, I continued. The house is mine. My father's voice broke the silence, hoarse and disbelieving. You own our house? I nodded, holding up the deed. I saved it when you couldn't, Dad. When you were too busy praising Monica's scams. Monica flinched, her voice rising. That's not fair. We didn't know. My mother reached for my arm, her eyes pleading. Bethany, we're sorry. We were wrong about you. I stepped back, out of reach. Their apologies were too late, hollow after years of scorn. You mocked me, humiliated me. Chose a con man over me, I said, my voice steady. I owe you nothing. Monica's face crumpled, but she didn't argue. My father tried again, softer. Please, Bethany, let us stay. We'll make it right. I shook my head, pointing to the door. Get out. Live with your choices. My mother sobbed, but I held firm, the weight of their betrayal heavier than their tears. They shuffled out, Monica glancing back, her expression a mix of shame and anger. I closed the door, the click echoing in the quiet room. I'd carried their insults for years, worked in the shadows to protect what they'd thrown away. Now I was done. The house was mine, not out of spite, but because I'd earned it. I sat at the small desk, opening my laptop to focus on something bigger than their mess. For weeks, ever since Eric's scam unraveled, I'd been planning. I started drafting a website for a fund to help real estate scam victims, people like those I'd warned at Monica's office. I called it the Springfield Recovery Fund, a resource for legal advice, small grants, and support for those burned by fraud. I reached out to Susan, my lawyer friend, to build the legal framework. This could change lives, Bethany, she said, her voice warm over the phone. I smiled, feeling a spark of purpose. The fund launched online within days, my real estate expertise guiding every step. I posted about it on local forums, sharing stories of families who'd lost everything to cons, like Eric's. Donations started small, then grew. Neighbors, former clients, even strangers moved by the cause. I worked late, answering emails, connecting victims with lawyers. This wasn't about my family anymore. It was about justice, about ensuring no one else faced what I'd seen. Standing by the hotel window, I looked out at Springfield's quiet streets. The Clarks were out there, scrambling to salvage their lives, but I was free. I'd cut the ties that held me back, built something new from the ashes of their betrayal. The house was mine, the fund was growing, and I was no longer the girl they dismissed. I was Bethany, standing tall, ready for whatever came next.